right? Let's start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, read that real quick in Ecclesiastes, first chapter. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new, it hath been already of old? And pretty much, this is a lesson that is inspired by an article that I had read sometime last week, and wanted to highlight that in this lesson because, people speak about a new world order, right? NWO. Now, a new world order implies that it's new, but it's not new, because the new world order and the idea for the new world order is something that goes back, way back, back to the beginning of time. As long as there's been empires on the earth, there has been ideas for a so-called new world order. Mm-hmm. So you know what? We could start. You could read that scripture, and then we can go to the book of Genesis, the 11th chapter. But read that in Ecclesiastes chapter 1, and you could start at the 9th verse.
Okay. This is Ecclesiastes.
Yep, 1 to 9 in the Bible, regular Bible.
Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. It says, "The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be."
Right, and now this is speaking about the spirit. The thing that hath been is that which shall be. Go ahead.
It says, "And that which is done is that which shall be done."
And that which is done is that which shall be done, because the thing is speaking about what? It's speaking about the spirit. And there's no new thing under the sun. All the spirits that we see have been here many, many times. This is why you have a term called, history repeats itself. Mm-hmm. And the reason why history repeats itself is because people have been here many times. It's the same people doing the same things over and over again. This is the very definition, or this is because of reincarnation. Re means re means back, in means in, and carnate or carne or carnal means flesh, back in the flesh. What goes back in the flesh? The spirit.
And a new phrase that's been going around a lot lately is the Great Reset. Mm-hmm. That's a term that he uses, thinking that he's going to bring in his kingdom, but really the Great Reset that's coming is the reset that's coming through the Lord.
That's right.
Just like the reset, just like the first death, that was a great reset.
Right. That's right.
And this which is coming is called what? The second death. So that means that there's going to be another restoration of order in the earth that's coming, that's approaching us. And in order comes death.
That's it.
Whenever there's an order has to be restored, there's violence.
Right. Death of the old and the renewal of life of the new. Mm-hmm. And this is why Esau, which has the plans for a new world order, they're going to get their new world order off the ground, but only so far. Mm-hmm. And then that's when the Lord is going to come and take them down, because this is the last king sitting on the throne, or the last empire to rule, the Edomites, before the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai comes back to establish righteousness on the earth. So this whole idea that they're pushing forward, this enterprise, this agenda, is what's going to bring their total demise and their total end. So go ahead.
It says, "And that which is done is that which shall be done, and there was no new thing under the sun."
Right. There is no new thing under the sun. So this so-called new world order is not new. Mm-hmm. It's an old idea that many nations have tried to implement on the earth as they were ruling, but it just never happened, because it's not going to happen until the Lord Yahushua takes his rightful place on the throne. Yeah. Now, if you look at past empires, let's deal with the Assyrian Empire, let's deal with the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire. When you look at the expansion of their empires, it all stemmed around the same regions. And what would happen? Once one kingdom would go down, the other kingdom would take over their realm, right? And then they would expand from there. When the next empire will come up, they would take this empire down, and all of those lands and resources and things that belong to that particular empire was translated over to the next empire. So they all ruled around the same area, but it was just a new wave or a new order of things because it was a new empire or a new kingdom that was ruling. So this is what we're coming into right now. If you have something, you could bring it up.
Well, I was just going to.
Okay, go ahead.
Verse 10, it says, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new?
Right, and that's the name of the lesson, because it's not a new world order. It's just a one world government to be established that every nation had the idea to do the same thing. Nothing new today. And what's heavy is that when the kingdom of heaven is established, there will be a one world order. Let's get Genesis 11 real quick, and we can start at the first verse. Now it was heavy. I went to the blue letter. We went to Genesis 11, right? And up above, the caption reads, universal language, Babel, confusion. Now the word universal translates to uni, which is one, and versal, which means to turn into. So universal is to turn into one. It's the same thing, the same definition for the word Catholic. Catholic simply means universal. Universal means to turn into one. Because remember, they want one government, one economy, or one finance, one religion. See? And these all work in tandem. They're all working in tandem.
Now, what's that phrase? Out of many, one?
E pluribus unum.
Pluribus unum.
Go ahead, you got it.
No, we've been seeing that a lot.
Yep.
In the past days, we did we went to gather up information, from some sites around, and we've been seeing that a lot. E pluribus unum, out of many, one.
Yep.
And that's the same for Esau finishing his kingdom, which he's about to really start pushing a lot of what's the word, restrictions.
Yeah.
He's about to start back up again. See, what the people have gotten, he don't want the people to get too comfortable. So what's going to happen? Something's going to happen that's going to bring the people back down to a state of fear.
Right.
He's gonna unleash something. Something major is going to happen, which is going to bring the earth back into fear.
Oh yeah.
But this time, with all the things that's been being revealed, like the scriptures speak about how he shall cast his skirt over his face. How the Lord is going to reveal this man in this time.
Right. Yeah, that's why that freak couple, killed Gates and the other demon, which the jury is still out on that. Some say that was Kevin. I forget the dude's name.
Man, Linda.
Yeah. Oh shit. Well, anyway, they said that they're gonna take the next one serious. You know what they talk about. They talk about that plan D. They're gonna take the next one serious because they're doing some shit out there. But at the end of the day, everything that they do is gonna backfire on them. Now the elder Damashipat said something about their days being numbered, something like that, something along those lines that he said.
He set a boundary that he couldn't pass.
Right. So I got a couple of precepts which you're gonna get before we read this one. All right. This is Daniel chapter 5 verse 25. It says, "And this is the writing that was written, many tekel ufarsa." Now this was the writing that was on the wall that was established for the Babylonian Empire at the time, because every empire that comes up has a beginning date and has an end date. All right. And this was around the time that the ending date of that empire was to come. And this is the very same thing that they did at that moment in celebration and using, it's a celebration, bitches, and celebrating and using the Lord's holy vessels to drink that pompous pride of theirs. So what that did was they brought the end of their demise. And the moment they did that, is the moment that the Lord brought them down. Now in this time, We represent the holy vessels of the Lord. So when they're about to implement their new world order, to have power over the vessels of the Lord, that's when the Most High is going to bring them down.
Hey, I don't know if you remember recently, within the last, it had to be around 2017. NASA beamed a signal, a frequency out. No, it was CERN. They sent a frequency through CERN to see if they can get a response, and the response they got through CERN was Tekel.
Oh yeah?
They got Tekel. The response they got was Tekel. I remember it being all in the news. I did a lesson on it.
I don't remember that, but I remember them saying something. They had got some kind of signal, but I didn't know they got that signal.
They said, yeah, the response they got was Tekel.
I got it right here. I'm reading it. It says, this is the interpretation of the thing. Many. The Most High has numbered thy kingdom and finished it. So we'll get that. Yeah, get that. Okay. And let me get this real quick. The Lord has numbered thy kingdom and finished it. So in other words, you had your beginning date, you got your end date, you got your middle of your kingdom. When you started, you did what you did, you got to the middle of your kingdom, now you're at the end of your kingdom. The last day of your kingdom, you are going to be brought down, no matter what. Right? So it says, Job 14:5, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. And that's exactly what happened. The Lord has set up boundaries where Esau is not going to be able to go past. So going back to Daniel 5:25, it says, and this is the writing that was written. Many, many tekel ufarsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Many, the Most High, have numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighed in the balance and are found wanting. Now, what does it mean to be found wanting? It means to be found lacking. Matter of fact, let's look up some other some other translations, see what it says. The NLT, tekel, means weighed. You have been weighed on the balances and have not measured up. Because remember, they said that they are a God-fearing nation, and God we trust. It's a so-called Christian nation, but they don't follow the instructions of the book. Let's see what else we got. Tekel in the NIV. You have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Now, let's look up this word wanting. Because that means that they lacked. Wanting. The word there is chasayar, which almost sounds like pig, if I'm not mistaken. Pig or swine, something along those lines, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me right. Lacking, wanting, deficient. See? So you're lacking, you're wanting, you're deficient. So you have been weighed in the balance. And how have you been weighed in the balance? Well, by the measuring stick, the rod of the Lord, the scriptures. That's why it says, leave the outer court out there and measure it not, because that's for the heathen. That's for those heathen. You have some other Dimash?
No, it's that hard. Information is getting, it's hard to find.
Okay, no worries. You already brought it out, and if they want any more on it, well, they can themselves look it up.
Well, if I find it during the day, I'll post it on the video.
Right.
So brothers can see it.
That's right. So the word for swine is chazayar, and the other word we were looking at, chazayar, and this one is chasayar. So it's a little different. One has a sa, a s sa, and the other one has a za with a z. So it sounds similar, but not quite. So they're lacking, wanting, deficient. All right. So this is why the Lord is going to bring their ass down. So now, if you don't have anything,
I'm still holding Genesis.
Let's go to Genesis now.
Okay. This is Genesis 11:1. It says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain of land of Shinar, and they dwelt there.
Right. So the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Remember, this is what they're trying to bring, a so-called new world order. But before you read on, bro, Salakia, Revelation chapter 17, right? And 7 and 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, because America is a great melting pot, right? And the 10 horns which represent the EU, back then it was the EEC, right? It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast being the 7 heads, let me see, the Greeks, the Romans, the Spanish, the French, Germanian Major, Germanian Minor, and the British, right? It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, which the whore being America, and shall make her desolate and naked. And how are they going to do it? And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, meaning they're going to destroy her with fire, because that was the way you dealt with whores. Mm-hmm. When you had a whore, you were like, if a priest had a daughter that was a whore, you would burn her. So America is going to be burnt. Yeah. You know, like that proverbial whore. So it says, for the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. Now there was another verse. Just bear with me one second. If you have anything, okay, verse 13, that's what I was looking for. It says, matter of fact, I started at 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So in other words, they're going to come together in this conglomeration, you know, of these so-called European nations, Edomite nations, to establish this one world government. But America being the spearhead of that, they are pissing their own allies off to the point where they're going to turn against this whole and burn this bitch. Yeah,
and it's got to happen. If the scriptures say, and we've been saying, I remember when I was just learning this information. While we're talking about it now, when I was just learning, I was blown away, like, wow. But, you know, it seems like the world is doing everything that it can, or the people in rulership are doing everything that it can to try to discredit this or try to stop it from happening. But it's inevitable. You know, it's gonna happen because why? Because the Lord said, what? My word that I sent forth, it shall not come to me void, but it shall accomplish that thing in which I sent it. Yep. You know, and to the Lord, His word is something that has to be accomplished. Right. You know. That's right. You know what? We'll go hold off on that. We'll come back to that. Okay. Go to the Apocrypha, 1 Maccabees 1:41. Let's read that. Then you should be able to pull the article up because I sent it to you. And then we could read some of this article so you could see what's going on in the world today. And this is dated August 7, 2023, which is this year. This is about a good two weeks ago or so. First Maccabees 1 and 41. Now this is Antiochus Epiphanes, right? And remember the old saying, history, how does it go? History began with the Greeks or something like that. I can't think of the saying right now, but something along those lines. Well, really, that's dealing with Esau's history, you know, or civilization began with the Greeks. That's it. That's Esau's civilization, but his civilization began with the Edomites, going all the way back to that time. But let's go, bro. First Maccabees 1:41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Right. So this is no new thing under the sun. This has been the same idea, the same thought, the same pattern that was established kingdom after kingdom after kingdom after kingdom. Remember, the Lord gave the promotion. You know, He sets up one king and takes down another. He sets up the ones that are going to rule and takes down the other ones that the Lord said, okay, your rule is over. All right, so now we're at the point where we're witnessing Esau, the end of Esau's rule. Go ahead.
And that's a way of going against the Lord, because the Lord is the one that confused the languages of the people. So to try to establish a one world order is like defiance. Right. It says...
that's it. And then remember, you had Hellenization, Romanization, Americanization. meaning the imposing of the language, the imposing of the ideologies, laws, and ways of these particular empires. This is what they're doing. You got it, bro.
It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
So just keep in mind that even the ones that know that the Israelites, when this thing is being established, they're going to be partakers of it because they're the same ones that were doing it back then. Remember, there's no new thing under the sun. Go ahead. Is there more of that?
It says, also many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. It said, for the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
Right, and then that's going to happen again because you're going to have false leaders among Jake out there, the different tribes, even the ones that know that they're Israelites, they're going to be doing some backroom deals because they're going to be taking. You looking for some water right there? You know, they're going to be looking for for those backroom deals. They're going to be trying to manipulate Jake. With these false ideologies that Esau's pushing on them to try to distort the Lord's plans, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shift into this article, and I'm going to let the Elder Dimash, the Mashapat, read some of these articles, or some of this article, and we're going to see how far we can get into it, because there's a lot of good information here. When I was reading it, I was like, this is a very good article to go into. I had sent it to a couple of brothers.
I got it. This is from Technocracy News and Trends. It says, Northern Guard transitioning to a new global order.
Right. We could just stop it right there and close the book on that one. But they're transitioning to a new global order because what they're doing right now is putting the finishing touches on this global order, this new global order. So they're not there yet, but they're transitioning. This is why they're getting people, acclimated to what? To dealing everything digital, dealing with everything non-touch, whatever they call that. Everything is going online. Everything is going digital. And that's what they're pushing. So they're transitioning from the old way of doing things into the new. They're getting some resistance, but they're transitioning to
NFC, near field communication. Right. That's what they call it, NFC, to where you can be in the vicinity and the AI or artificial intelligence can read your something that they're going to put on you in your ID, and know who you are, or eventually with your phone. Your phone is a near field communication device. Right. So if they can beam signals to where you are on Google, you better believe they know exactly where you are now.
That's right.
So the Internet of Things.
That's right. Yes, and there's been information going out that the Whole Foods in New York, which we've been to it. Elder Pastor mentioned it. We've been to that one before. That there was a big riot out there because they're trying to implement the micro C-HIP, and people are not having it. Well, that really wasn't the case, because there was a young brother in the New York camp that actually went to that Whole Foods down there, and he actually asked the security guard if he could pay with cash, and the security guard said yes. He even waited in line, got to the front, and was paying for something, and they, he said that they accepted the cash. The cashier accepted the cash, and he even asked the cashier, "Do people have to pay with a micro C-HIP?" And she said no. So that wasn't accurate, but this is something that's been in the making. But this is the transitioning that is going into.
And it's the voice that they're pushing out there.
Right.
They'll find some nigga coon to go and try to incite things on the internet. You know, we'll give you $500, nigga, and the dude, yeah, I go and start some shit. Yeah, but you know, so you got to be careful. Where's all this censorship? Like they'll knock down our videos for saying certain words, but where's all this censorship with false news being put out there?
Exactly.
Where's all they're quick to tell us on our videos, you know, or if you have social media, oh, this is false information. They're quick to tell you, but where is all this censorship when it comes to people out there putting out fake news? Because you know what? They know our people are reactive. That's why, man, you got to use the spirit in these times. Right. Don't be reactive. You know, people are reactive. They see this, you know, and then it'll start up some certain uproars, man, some discomfort. You know, things like that can spread without being taken down. But you say one word on a YouTube video, and they no, nigga, you can't say it.
That's right.
You know, Salaki.
So let's go back to the
article.
Yep.
It says at the genesis of modern globalization in 1973, it says the Trilateral Commission posited the independence of nations was inevitable, and then pushed it everywhere. Now the same cabal says the nation states are unable to cope with interconnected global problems on their own. So, like,
so pretty much what they're saying is that these they can't deal with it on their own. So pretty much what they got to do is they got to bring everything together collectively. Go ahead.
It said, hence nobody except the United Nations can head global governance.
The who?
The United Nations.
And what is the United Nations? The UN. That's all those different nations that are coming together to implement this plan. Now, the United Nations building, which is in New York, you know, was a land, a portion of land on the east side of Manhattan, and it was donated by the Rockefellers, you know, to establish a headquarters for the United Nations building. And that United Nations building is one stone going straight up, you know, one building going straight up, and that stone or that building is known as a monolith. What is a monolith? A monolith, mono means one, and lith or lithos is stone, one stone, because they're establishing their new world agenda through America. You know, the great mouth of the scriptures that the scriptures speak about in the book of Daniel. They're establishing that through here, and that's what that whole monolith or that building was all about. You know, this is why it's called the UN building, the United Nations. All nations together united as one.
Fine. And it's not going to work because has been allowed over the years to create nations that are full of division and what's the other word? Pride. Pride and division, man. This is a prideful statement. It's never. It says nobody but except the United Nations can head global governance, but the United Nations ain't even solid. It's people succeeding from the Union. Right now, as we speak, it's people looking at bricks like a bad bitch.
Right.
They're looking at bricks like, woo, man, I might want to slide. You know?
That's right. That's right.
They look, bricks is the younger, finer chick that everybody's eyeing.
Yeah, and America's that old hag.
Yeah. She did. Everybody in the neighborhood can tell you how she feel.
Yep.
That's America.
Yep. She done wore out her welcome.
That pride. You're always looking for the new big thing. This is the new big thing. It's not America anymore. Because you created this society full of selfishness. This society full of pride. You know?
That's right.
So, division. You created a society full of division. You know?
That's right.
It says, you want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, the goal of this con game is to twist the resources of the world out of the hands of the nation states. Right,
to twist the resources of these nations back to who? To Esau, really, pretty much. You know, matter of fact, get up Micah 2, and we're going to go back to the article. You know, because that's what they're establishing. And they're doing it in the name of this whole agenda is for peace, is for helping the people and all of this. But what they're doing is slowly but surely manipulating the resources and the goods and the lands of these nations into the hands of Esau, which is the head of the New World Order agenda. Did you get it?
Okay, yes, sir.
Okay.
Start at verse 1.
Yeah.
Micah 2:1. It says, "Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds." It says, "When the morning is light, they practice it." And you know what? One thing that they practice is oppression. Right early in the morning, what's the first thing you gotta do? Go to court. You know, like if you have an offense, you gotta go to court. You gotta get all this stuff put on you. You know, the whole judicial system is a practice. You know, but they use this system to oppress Jake. It says,
and the main way they oppress people is by what? By way of finances. Now,
exactly.
When you read Isaiah the 14th chapter, when it says, "How have the golden city ceased?" The how does that go? Matter of fact, get that real quick. We'll come back to it. How has the golden city ceased? The oppressor ceased, or something along those lines.
That's it. The oppressor.
Right.
Then it's at the golden city.
So when you go and you read that in the Red Bible, in the precept, it says exactress of gold. So the exactress of what does it mean to exact? When you exact something, it means you're claiming or telling a person you got to pay this back. And what America has done is pretty much stolen the gold of these different nations. Ooh. It's stolen the gold of people in general. This is why during the time when the Bretton Woods Agreement was made and that conference was had, they established the dollar as a world reserve currency, and they were giving people paper dollars in payment for their goods. And they promised them that you would be able to reclaim your gold at any time that you wanted to, and you could turn in those paper dollars and get your gold. But then when France, which was the first nation to do it, asked for their gold back, they said there's not enough gold, that we don't have enough gold to give to everybody. So Nixon he squashed that.
Yeah.
And
that's the spirit that's happening. We brought out that scripture. There's no new thing under the sun. That happened back then, but now the new thing is that just happened with Nigeria. They brought out the CBDC in there, and then they told the people, they said, "Look, come." The people wanted the whole country save up and have they want to have full access to their money. So what happened is they found out that people were hoarding the money in their houses. So they told them, "Look, the bank is creating a new currency, a new paper currency. You go turn your old money in, and then you can pick up the new currency." And they had people coming in, the people turning their money in, and they said, "Oh, we got to print up more. That's not enough. So come back tomorrow." And they basically strung them along. They made the people turn all their cash in, and then they said, "Well, since we don't have enough paper cash to hand out to the people, you're gonna have to take this CBDC." And they wanted to avoid CBDC, but over there, a lot of people still use Bitcoin because they're well experienced in Bitcoin. But that just happened. That show you there's no new thing under the sun right there, because that just happened in Nigeria.
Right.
They took their money. They said they was going to give them another currency, but they ran out of the currency and they made them take CBDC.
Yeah, and what they're doing too is like with a lot of these countries, like you had Venezuela, you had Zimbabwe, and other countries, they've already experimented on what would happen if they hyperinflate the currency. Mm-hmm. Germany back in the 30s, with the Deutsche Weimar Republic. It's the same thing that they're doing, because they what's the word I'm looking for? They experiment on these nations, because this is exactly what they plan on bringing upon the world. Remember, this global implosion of the economy is going to be something that's going to be worldwide, because they want to implement the new currency, which would be the MOTB, which is the micro CHIP. Now, I read Isaiah 14:4. Right here it says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. When we look at the word golden city, right, it goes to the Hebrew word madahab, madabah, right? Now the word for gold, if I'm not mistaken, in the Hebrew is zahab. Here they have dahab, but it's also zahab. Right here it says for golden city, it says boisterous, raging, behavior, boisterous behavior, because remember, what does it mean to be boisterous? It means to be loud, right? So America is the mouthpiece in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. So that's the boisterous mouth foaming out that rage. It goes on to say, golden city of gold. So what is exactness, or to exact something? When you exact something, you actually, claiming something back. Matter of fact, let's put up the word exact definition.
That's some fire.
It says exact. There's different definitions. One of them is an adjective, not approximated in any way precise. So exact, that's one definition. But the verb is demand and obtain. Something is payment from someone. See, and this is how they oppress the nations, and this is why I said that the nations are mad. When you go to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, they got the whole world effed up through what? Through the U.S. dollar bill, which is being devalued by the day and causing a strain in the economy of these nations. But they're doing this on purpose because they want to collapse the economy of the entire world so that they can bring in the new system online. That's what we read earlier in that article, that they're transitioning into the new world order, new global order. They ain't just sliding into it. They have to transition because they have to change everything slowly but surely until they eventually get the desired effect where they can actually implement their so-called MOTB, or the MOTB, which is micro CHIP, which is a new form of payment. You got it, bro.
Just like the serpent tricked Eve, into making her husband go off. America tricked these nations into believing that they would profit from what they were producing. And now the nations are getting mad because they're just not figuring out all this was a joke on us.
Right.
And this put us in a worse situation in the end.
Right.
So that's why you were saying that the devaluation of the dollar is putting a strain on these other people's currencies.
I got something to back the elder up. This is Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand and made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken over wine, therefore the nations are mad.
Yeah, they're mad. Everybody's mad now. So now everybody is what? It's like all this chatter going on in the background of these nations talking and saying, you know what, I don't trust them. And they some fucking demons over there.
Yep. Every time they get involved into anything that America does, it always makes the nation that they give whatever to fall lesser and lesser.
Yep, and that's going to lead up to what? All these nations shooting rockets on America.
Oh yeah.
There's chatter in the background. There's noise. There's these murmurings. It's going to lead to what? All the nations are saying, you know what? Fuck them. And even if they don't know, fuck them still. Because when everybody else shoots missiles, okay, I'm going to join them.
Oh yeah, and even their own allies are going to shoot missiles over here. So this got to be a real demonic hole, where everybody want a piece of you. You ain't got nobody that's going to be in your corner. Nobody's going to be in your corner.
Yeah, this philosophy that America's giving out there and making it look good is all death. It's all like everybody that eats up this philosophy. There's death involved. There's lack, and everybody's getting fed up with it now.
Yep.
So America had what was called silent weapons, but the silent weapons are becoming loud because people are understanding by dealing with this whore what to look for. Yep. Wait, something ain't right. They're being more vigilant now. They're seeing, oh shit, everything this country does is evil.
Right.
But
so let's go to Micah 2. You still got that, right? Start at the top again.
Micah 2:1. It says, "Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds." It says, "When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands."
Right. So since the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, they have the power and manipulation over the money system. Mm-hmm. This is why Myram Shalbauer said, "Give me control of the nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws." because they know by the control of the money they can manipulate the value of the money, and they can put the people into serious debt. And when the people get into serious debt, what's going to happen is they're going to eventually become debt slaves. You know, the scriptures say the servant is the borrower is servant to the lender, and they are the money lenders, and they're not supposed to lend upon usury or interest, but this is what they do. This is how they make their money. Okay.
It says, and they covet fields and take them by violence.
Right. Right now we're witnessing that out there in Maui. You know, that island out there where they're causing all kind of havoc to come down on that place. And what's the first thing they're doing? They ain't even letting the people mourn, and they ain't even letting the whole thing, you know, be what's the word I'm looking for? Investigated before they go in there and try to buy the land out, because that's what they wanted to do from the beginning.
It's coming out. What's coming out now is these people are mourning people that are missing. They don't even have time to mourn their people before these investors come in and try to jump down their throat. You want to sell? Because why? They're trying to profit off of their mourning, because they know that their thoughts are not being consistent, because they're looking for people. Right. People are dying. Their neighbors, their friends, their pets. So they can't even grieve. They got these investors down their throats talking about, you know, in their moment of grief. You know, and then it's coming out now that they shut down school that day. They had police blockades blocking people in the cities. Why? Because these people have insurance on these properties. Yeah. So they wanted them to die. They wanted them to be trapped in there and die, and a lot of them did.
Yeah, these devils are very devious, man. This is why the Lord said, howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. You've done a lot of effery, you know, on the earth, and the Lord is going to take you out, and you're going to be howling. Because not only are we going to kick you in the ass, but the other nations are going to kick you in the ass.
There's actual video footage on the internet of lasers coming out of the sky.
And that's going to be in the kingdom of heaven. I'm sorry.
No, it's like hey, there's lasers coming down out of the sky destroying land. There's parts of land that's untouched. Fire doesn't jump from the top of house to the top of house. Fire burns from the ground up. Right. You know, but there's all this where it's like an aimed, like something was being aimed. You know, if the fire, you don't see the fire crawl across the grass and burn the house. It's this house was on fire, and then this house way over here was on fire.
Yeah, and a brother sent me a video where they were showing you lasers
coming out of the sky. Yeah.
Right, but there was another one that they were showing lasers that you had a yellow, something red, something white, something blue, right? And the laser was burning the red, it was burning the yellow, it was burning the white, but when it came across the blue, it wasn't burning the blue. It wasn't burning it. Damn. So then they were showing in that area, there were certain cars and certain things that were painted blue that didn't get touched. Now, I don't know how true that is.
Hey, no,
I don't know if they're making that up.
Remember in Chicago, they were using those same colors to mark houses. Remember years ago, the people was coming out and finding a different color paint in front of their houses, and it was those same colors: yellow, blue, red, and white. It was those same exact 4 colors.
Yeah, that was years ago. I know that goes into the yellow list, blue list, red list, and all that. But hey, we're gonna see, because this devil, he's being exposed on all levels.
It says and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage.
So what is the heritage? The land. So they're taking people's lands and giving them something. The compensation that they're giving them is worthless compensation. The compensation is not worth anything. You see, they're not giving them gold or silver, precious stone, or exchanging it for other lands or things of value. You know, as they say, intrinsic value. They're giving them stuff that ain't worth nothing. Promissory notes, debt-bearing notes. So now let's go back to the article. Let's read a little bit more on the article, and then we can get ready to close out.
Okay.
And then Lord's will, we can go back. Yeah, you could read the second paragraph there. And Lord's will, we can go back to finish it out in Genesis 11.
Okay. It says the goal of this current game is to twist the resources of the world out of the hands of the nations and into the hands of the global elitists.
Yep.
It says this is technocracy.
Right, and that's what they put in. What technocracy is technology, and cracy means to rule. So technology rules. This is why they're transitioning the whole system into a digital system, because this new digital system, what knowledge would increase, is what they're going to use to put the whole world, in a spot where they're going to have to comply with the system. And technocracy or technology is going to be the one that's going to rule.
Kind of. It says they have adeptly used societal destroyers like communism, socialism, Antifa, BLM, etc., to obscure the real agenda of resources of resource takeover. Yep. And they create these factions among the people.
Yep.
So people focus more on the faction than what's going on in government. That's more focus on this small thing, because they want to succeed at this. This has become a goal. And they don't see the big agenda behind the background while they're in this hamster wheel of a device.
Right. And if you're a person that is in tune kind of sort of with what's going on, and you're riding with the BLM or Antifa or whatever, those things are a distraction for you. Mm-hmm. Because the ones that they can't get with the bread and circuses of entertainment, they get them with these different radical groups that they think are really against the government, but they're working for the government because they took that ESSO money. Yeah. Inside joke.
It says to obscure the real agenda of resource takeover. Nevertheless, the purge and grab operation is unmistakable.
All right, let's go. Read next.
Says last week United Nations published the.
It's all right. Take your time.
Yeah, the line, just keep line water.
Yeah,
it's good. It says last week United Nations published a policy brief, a new agenda for peace.
A new agenda for peace. When they shall say peace and safety, and sudden destruction cometh upon them. Go ahead.
Beautiful. It said it is the 9th out of the 11 briefs that has been released to support UN's Our Common Agenda.
Their common agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
It says in the report, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres declares, "We are now at an inflection point." It says the post-Cold War war period is over. Salaki. A transition is underway to a new global order.
A transition is on the way to a new global order. Because they're transitioning things slowly. They're moving it slowly into the next phase. This is why they've been hitting people with different policies and different things, different agendas, gradually. You see? You got it. Where it says this sets the stage.
It says this sets the stage for a multipolar order that will replace the one that has been led by the United States since the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Now, with the reformed United Nations to the helm, at the helm to manage world affairs, UN explains that an angrier world is rising.
Right? The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations are mad.
Yeah, kind of.
They rising from the ashes. Go ahead.
It says with the emergence of new poles of influence, BRICS.
Yep.
It says this has been hastened,
by the sea monster,
by the C19 disease pandemic, and the war in Ukraine. It says new priorities are also added to the old threats of war and nuclear havoc, with the wording that seems inspired by the old geopolitical manipulator Henry Kissinger,
which is a demon, and that devil, I think he's still alive.
It says the policy brief describes a world where nation states are unable to cope with interconnected global problems on their own.
So they have to be helped. And what is that help? Well, they give all their power to one source, and then that one source will help them, to deal with the problems that they can't deal with.
Yeah, give us your freedom, and we'll deal with it. We'll take it from there.
You will own nothing, and you will be happy. Go ahead.
It says, even the most securitized of borders cannot contain the effects posed by the warming of the planet. The activities of criminal groups or terrorists are spread of deadly viruses, transnational threats, and then another thing, it said the warming of the planet. When you think about what's warm, what's I don't believe in this global crap, but if the world is being warmed by what all the pollutant that the world is using, Esau thwarts clean energy, so he's purposely destroying the world. If anything that's clean energy, if people are finding out that engines can run on water, this can run on air. The guy just made a car that was run off air compression recently. A guy made a car that was run off compressed air. And
notice a lot of times those individuals come up either missing or dead.
Yeah, like the Buffalo shooting. The guy that created the car, the engine that runs off water. See, he's saying that, well, the global warming because of the things that's going into the atmosphere or whatever, pollution, and then these motherfuckers have whole fucking factories and companies putting pollution up daily, but your little pollution that's coming out the engine of your car, it's got a tax on it. Well, you got to tax that a little bit, so it's just they take from the people, they oppress the people even worse. They take from the people, and then they run these organizations that's doing the same thing that they're saying is a problem. It says
that's pretty much the main point. Let's go to Genesis 11. We can close it out. There's a lot more in that article you could read on your own. All you have to do is type in Northern Guard transitioning to a new global order. And there's a lot in there. They give you like 12 steps of things that they want to work on and so on and so forth. But basically these devils are pushing their agenda forward through these different talking points. Got it.
Did you want me to start?
Top me again.
Genesis 11:1, it says, and the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. It says, and they said one to another, go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had a brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city, and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
Right. So they had a one mind. Everybody was same language, same mind. Now it's starting to act up. Go ahead.
It says, verse 5, it says, immediately, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one.
Behold, the people is one. Go ahead.
It says, and they have all one language. And this they began to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do, because their will can't be done.
Right. You got it.
It says, go to let us.
You got it. Go.
It says, go to let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
So the Lord was not with this one world government established back then. They already tried that. This has been tried many times, and the Lord never wanted that. The only time that there will be a one world government established is when Yahweh Shai comes back to take his rightful place on the throne. And he's going to rule, and we'll be joint heirs with him. That's the only time when a one world government will be established. And it's going to be established on the principles of the scriptures. On the principles of the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, the Most High, through his son Yahweh Shai and the rest of Israel. And that's what's gonna be the new order of the age. Not the bullshit that they're putting out there now, but this bullshit that they have out now is what's setting the stage for the future kingdom. Because when they push that agenda fully, that's when the Lord's going to take them down, and he's going to establish his son back up on the throne. You got it?
It says, so the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build a city. It says, therefore is the name of it called Babel.
The word Babel goes back to what?
Confused. what is it?
Babal.
Confusion.
Right. Go ahead.
It says confusion.
Which is in America, that's what you have here. All different nations speaking different languages, worshiping their different gods, you know, and all kind of degenerate, immoral things going on in this society, which is nothing more than Babylon. This is why in Revelation 17:5 it says Babylon the Great, which is the greatest conglomeration of confusion on the planet, the mother of harlot, because you could worship anything you want here, and abominations of the earth, because you could do and be and lay down with whatever you want to lay down with in this society. You know, and it's not frowned upon by the average person. You got it.
It says because the Lord did confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
So was the Lord with that New World Order back then? No, he was never with that New World Order. But man, the Lord said he created man upright, but they have sought out many inventions. And they're going to continue to do what they're going to do. They're not going to stop because the Lord got the Spirit on them to do what they do. You know, but that's all right. Keep on doing what you're doing, because in the 7th, 8th, 9th round, you're going to go down.
Yeah, because you're doing what he wants you to do.
That's
Keep
it.
doing what you're doing because you think you're coming up with this.
Yeah. And pretty much the man's goings are the Lord. You got it.
Yeah, the Lord is playing chess, not checkers. The Lord is sending you in directions that you believe in your own proud minds that you're choosing to go.
That's it.
The Lord is putting the pen, the Google pen, the drop. The Lord is, that's where you going. And you're like, well, oh wait, we can do this.
Right.
And you going exactly where the Lord wants you to be.
That's right. The pride of thy heart has deceived thee. But with that, you know, this has been, you know, another lesson. Lord's will, you brothers and sisters have been edified. To the next time we say, Shalom.